Yeah, that's right.
Give them hell!
Well, firstly, biggest honour in my life is coming along to speak at this event. I'm the branch secretary of Unison Lothian Health Branch, 14,000 members, 80% women. Now, I didn't need to tell you anything about James Connolly, so I'm not going to. Why would I recite history that you know? But James Connolly stood shoulder to shoulder with women and fought for women's rights just as much as he fought for everybody else's rights. And as a trade unionist, what he fought for was a minimum working wage, back then a 40-hour working week, which was amazing for people, and he stood shoulder to shoulder with trade unionists. He recognised early that the working class needed to stick together and needed to mobilise. And that's what we as a trade union do. We campaign for the low paid, we campaign for the minorities. And what is happening today is despicable, because the minorities are being pushed further out to the edges. We are seeing the rise of the far right and reform. So if there was ever a time to organise and ever a time for socialists and working class people to stick together, it is now. It was sad to see. It's sad to see how many votes Reform got in Scotland. I was quite sure they would get none. So it was absolutely devastating to see how well they did. One vote is one vote too many for me. So a lot of what James Connolly came from and stood for is exactly the same as me. I'm the daughter, granddaughter, great-granddaughter of the Irish immigrants who came over here looking for work. My family started through in Ayrshire in the mines and moved to Fife and worked doing the mines. So everything that his family had been through, many people here, so many Irish immigrants came over to Scotland looking for work because of the conditions over there. And we cannot forget what he stood for. We all know what he did in Ireland, but we have to remember what he did in Scotland. He was a socialist, he was a trade unionist. And that is why we are proud that James Connolly was a Scot, and he was a Scot. Our branch, our union branch, trade union branch, is a campaigning branch. And I think I'm a miner's daughter and I'm a miner's granddaughter. And I remember the miners' strike in the 80s. And I remember thinking, if they defeat the miners, what chance do any of the other trade unions have? Because they were massive. They were my childhood, and it was a way of life for me. The trade union movement never sat separate to me when I was a child. It was part of your life. And over the years, the trade union movement has become a separate entity. Youngsters today will ask you what a trade union is. I knew what a trade union was when I was a wee lassie, because I was brought up in it. So a couple of stewards in our branch, Derek Durkin being one of them at the time, and a lady called Dida Russell, recognised that the trade union movement started in the communities. It started in working class communities where people got together and they realised that when they get together and they organise, they're strong. So what Derek and Ida wanted to do was stop that trade union being a separate entity and take it back into the working class communities where trade unionism started. So Derek and Ida, with the support of our branch, set up trade unions in the community. First hub was in Craigmillar, a working class community, a deprived community in Edinburgh. We've opened our second office in Leith, and we are now proud to say that Falkirk have came in and they've opened their trade unions in the community. So my plea to people tonight is tell your kids what a trade union is. Tell your grandkids what a trade union is. When they get to working class age, get them to join a trade union, because when you stand alone, you've no power. People gathering like here tonight, when we stand together, we can take on the far right, we can take on reform, and we can take on people that are